You sit after prayer and something feels off. Not outside. Inside, you just finished doing everything right. You focused. You slowed down. You even felt something real for a moment. And then, quietly, almost politely, a thought slips in that wasn't sincere. You were distracted. Allah probably didn't accept that. You don't panic. Not at first. You try to ignore it. But it doesn't leave. It adjusts. It becomes more precise, more intelligent. It starts sounding like you. And over time, something changes. You still pray. You still believe. But the quiet certainty you used to have, that calm, grounded feeling, it starts to weaken, not disappear, just loosen. And the most dangerous part, you think this is in sight. Think this is you becoming more sincere, but Ibn Arabi says something completely different. He says, this discomfort is not a sign of failure. It is the beginning of a very specific kind of distortion, a process, and by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how Waswasa slowly rewires your heart's certainty and what to do in real time when it begins. In this video, we are going to look at exactly how Waswasa enters your mind and why it feels like your own voice. Then we will examine how repetition slowly replaces certainty without you even noticing. Then Ibn Arabi will show us something most people completely miss, that attention, not belief, is what actually gives Waswasa its power. Then we will uncover why the most sincere people are often the most targeted by this dot. And finally, we will break down exactly how to interrupt this pattern before it reshapes your heart. Most people assume their problem is weak faith. But if you're watching this, that's probably not true. Your problem is not disbelief. It's OVE, unanalysis of belief. You don't doubt Allah. You doubt yourself, your intention, your sincerity. Your inner state, constantly. And that kind of doubt is not loud. It doesn't feel rebellious. It feels careful, responsible, even humble. But Ibn Arabi, one of the most precise metaphysical minds in Islamic history, looks at this very differently in Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah, Al-Futuhat Al-Makkiyah. He explains that the heart is not just something that holds belief, it is something that perceives reality. It is like an eye, but not for the physical world, for meaning. And this heart is constantly receiving what he calls kata, tear, incoming thoughts, impressions, whispers. Not all of them are yours. Some come from your nafs, some from angels, some from divine inspiration, and some from something that wants to distort how you see. Here is the key point. Waswasa is not dangerous because of what it says. It is dangerous because of what it trains your heart to do repeatedly. Modern psychology calls this neuroplasticity. Researchers have found that the brain reshapes itself based on repeated focus and patterns. Ibn Arabi described this same mechanism centuries earlier, not in the brain, but in the heart. Science describes what is happening. Ibn Arabi tells you what to do about it. And if you don't understand this structure, you will keep trying to fix your thoughts while your perception of truth is quietly being rewritten underneath. Think of a 24-year-old student. It's late. He's sitting alone on his prayer mat after Isha. His room is quiet. His phone is off. For once, he actually felt present. He made dua slowly, carefully, and for a brief moment, it felt real. Then, right after he finishes, a thought appears that felt fake. He freezes, not because the thought is loud, but because it feels accurate. It doesn't feel like a whisper from outside. It feels like him, like his own internal honesty correcting him, so he listens. He replays the dua in his mind. He checks his feelings again. And just like that, the moment is gone. That is not random in al-futuat, al-makia al-futo, ha'at al-makia. Ibn Arabi explains that the most dangerous kha tear is not the one that feels foreign, it's the one that blends into your identity, the one that sounds like your own voice. Because once it sounds like you stop questioning it, you obey it. Imagine malware on your phone that doesn't look like a virus. It looks like a system. Notification, update required, security, check needed. You trust it, you follow it, and slowly, it takes control. This is exactly how Waswasa operates. It doesn't argue against your belief. It impersonates your sincerity. Modern psychology calls this cognitive fusion. Researchers have found that when a person cannot separate themselves from their thoughts, they begin to treat every thought as truth. Ibn Arabi described this centuries earlier through Quater science describes what is happening. Ibn Arabi tells you what to do about it, and what he tells you is simple, but not easy. Not every voice inside you deserves obedience, even if it sounds like you. Now here is what most people miss. The problem is not that the thought appeared. That is normal. The problem is the moment you paused and gave it authority. That pause, that engagement, is the opening. Have you noticed this? A thought comes, and instead of passing, it hooks you, and suddenly you're in a conversation with it, defending, explaining, checking. That is the moment the line blurred. That is the moment it stopped being a thought and started becoming influence. And once that happens repeatedly, you don't just hear Waswasa, you become shaped by it. Waswasa wins the moment you treat it like it's you. But if one thought can do this, what happens when the same pattern repeats for months or years? That is where this gets deeper. Think of a woman in her early 30s. She's disciplined, practicing, careful about her deen. She stands at the sink making wudu. Once, then again, then a third time, not because she doubts Islam, but because something inside her says, do it properly, and properly keeps moving. Every time she finishes, there's a slight discomfort, a subtle not quite. So she repeats. She tells herself, this is caution, sincerity. But over time, something shifts. She stops trusting her own actions. Not just in wudu, in everything. This is exactly what Ibn Arabi is describing. In Al-Futuhat, Al-Futuhat, he explains that repeated kata, ko-wa-tir, do not stay as isolated thoughts. They carve patterns into the heart. What you repeat becomes how you perceive. Imagine water dripping on stone. One drop does nothing, but over time, it shapes the rock itself. That is what repetition does to your certainty. It doesn't just introduce doubt, it trains your heart to expect it. Now, this is where it gets uncomfortable. You think you're being careful, but what you're actually doing is rehearsing distrust. Every repetition is a lesson your heart is learning. You cannot trust yourself, and eventually, you stop even noticing the doubt because it feels normal. Modern psychology calls this a reinforcement loop. Researchers have found that behaviors repeated to reduce anxiety actually strengthen the anxiety over time. Ibn Arabi described this exact mechanism, but spiritually, science describes what is happening. Ibn Arabi tells you what to do about it, and what he shows you is unsettling. Your struggle is not staying the same, it is deepening. Every repetition is not neutral, it is training. Have you felt this in other areas? You check something once, then again, not because you need to, but because you don't feel settled until you do. That feeling of settled never lasts, because the system itself is broken. The more you try to fix it through repetition, the more unstable it becomes, and eventually, doubt stops feeling like an interruption. It feels like you. Repeated doubt doesn't stay doubt. It becomes who you think you are. But repetition alone doesn't explain everything. Something even more subtle is feeding this pattern, and most people never see it. Think of a 19-year-old student. He's learned about Waswasa. He knows he's supposed to ignore it, so when a thought comes, he does, at least at first. But then something happens. He tells himself, let me just check quickly, to make sure it's not valid. Just 1 second, just one glance inward, and that becomes a habit. Ignore, then check, ignore, then check, and slowly, the checking becomes automatic. He doesn't even realize he's doing it anymore. This is exactly what Ibn Arabi calls iltifat, the turning of attention in his framework. A thought does not gain power because you believe it. It gains power because you turn toward it. Attention is the gateway. Imagine a stray cat outside your house. The first time, you ignore it, then one day, you feed it, now it comes back, not because it owns your house, but because you open the door. That is what attention does to Waswasa. Modern psychology calls this attentional bias. Researchers have found that the more attention you give to a type of thought, the more your mind becomes wired to notice and return to it. Ibn Arabi described this centuries earlier through iltifat. Science describes what is happening. Ibn Arabi tells you what to do about it, and what he tells you is not what most people expect. You don't defeat Waswasa by arguing with it. You don't defeat it by analyzing it. You defeat it by refusing to feed it. Attention. Now here is the counterintuitive part. It's not belief that strengthens Waswasa. It's attention. You can reject a thought completely, but if you keep checking it, you are still feeding it. Have you noticed this? A thought you don't believe, but you keep revisiting. That thought grows, not because it convinced you, but because you kept turning toward it. This is the hidden mechanism. Not what you think, but what you attend to, and once you see this, you start noticing how often you're feeding things you claim to reject. What you keep checking, you keep alive. But there is one more layer to this, and it's the one that confuses people the most. Why does this happen more when you become more sincere? Think of a man in his late 30s. He hasn't missed Fajr in years. He lowered his gaze, cleaned up his life. People respect him, and yet, he feels worse inside now than he did before. More anxious, more doubtful, more internally unstable. He doesn't understand. I'm doing more. So why do I feel weaker? This is exactly the moment Ibn Arabi addresses in Al-Futuhat, Al-Futuh, Aat. He explains that Shaitan does not waste effort attacking what is already weak. He targets points of sincerity, because that is where distortion creates the most damage. Imagine a sniper. He doesn't aim at empty land. He aims at something valuable, something that matters. Your sincerity is that target now. Here is the part most people misunderstand. When waswasa increases, you assume something is wrong with you, but Ibn Arabi flips this completely. He shows that the increase is not necessarily a sign of failure, it is a sign of exposure. You've moved into a place where your inner life matters more, and because it matters more, it becomes more contested. Have you felt this? You start taking your deen seriously, and suddenly your thoughts become louder, more intrusive, more precise. That is not coincidence. That is targeting, and if you misread it, you will turn your sincerity against yourself. You will start doubting the very thing that made you valuable. But if you understand it, everything changes. Your struggle stops being evidence of weakness. It becomes evidence of significance. Waswasa doesn't attack your weakness. It hijacks your sincerity. But even with all of this, there is one final layer, a paradox that completely changes how you understand this struggle. The most dangerous form of waswasa does not pull you away from religion. It pulls you deeper incorrectly. You pray more, you repeat more, you check more, and your certainty keeps decreasing. This is the part most Islamic content never reaches, because the obvious advice sounds correct. Be more careful, but Ibn Arabi shows something far more precise. In Risalat al-Anwar, Erisalat al-Anwar, Erisalat, he explains that excessive inward attention can become a veil, not because attention is wrong, but because it becomes obsessive, distorted. The more you try to control every internal detail, the less stable your heart becomes, because you are no longer resting in trust. You are trapped in verification, and verification has no end. There is always another check, another doubt, another layer. Have you noticed this? The more you try to fix your inner state, the more unstable it feels. That's not failure. That's the system collapsing under over-control. True. Yaqeen is not constant checking. It is stability without needing to check. And that feels uncomfortable because you've trained yourself to believe that certainty must be verified. But Ibn Arabi shows the opposite. Certainty is what remains when verification stops. If that feels unsettling, good, that means you're seeing the trap clearly for the first time. Now the question becomes simple. What do you actually do when this starts happening? Not theoretically, in real time. The first practice is what we can call the non-response drill. When a thought appears, especially one that questions your sincerity, you do nothing, no checking, no analyzing. You let it pass like background noise. At first, this feels irresponsible, but what you're actually doing is breaking the loop between thought and attention. You are refusing to give it the fuel it needs. The second practice is the single action rule. When you perform an act, would you prayer? Anything you do at once and you move on. No repetition. This directly interrupts the reinforcement cycle. It teaches your heart something new. Completion is enough. And the third practice is the sincerity reframe when waswasa increases. Instead of thinking something is wrong, you label it, target detected. That simple shift changes everything, because now you're not reacting with fear, you're responding with awareness. You're seeing the pattern instead of being inside it. And once you see the pattern clearly, it starts losing its grip. These are not abstract ideas, these are interruptions. And interruption is exactly what this pattern needs to break. Go back to that moment from the beginning. You finished your prayer, and something inside you said that wasn't sincere. Before today, you treated that as truth, as insight, as honesty. Now, you see it differently. You see how it entered, how it repeated, how it pulled your attention, and how it slowly trained you to question what was already real. Your certainty was never weak. It was being rewritten, quietly, consistently, and now you see the system, which means you are no longer trapped inside it. Your heart didn't lose certainty. It was trained to question it. Now ask yourself, honestly, the last time you felt that subtle doubt after doing something sincere, did it bring you closer to Allah? Or did it pull you into yourself?